I think that's a fitting scripture. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and your mind and your spirit, your soul. And if we find ourselves doing that, then our world will definitely be different than it is today.
Well,
We're coming from the Apocrypha, and for most Christians or Protestant Christians, they won't have any idea about this book simply because it's not in the Bibles that we generally handle. The King James Version of the Bible doesn't have the Apocrypha in it.
well,
So if you live your entire life with just the King James Version, you would know nothing about the book of the Maccabees.
my Lord, have
You
mercy.
would miss
Have mercy.
a great part in that history between the Old Testament and the New Testament, which we need to know about.
Oh, yeah.
Simply because it actually gives us life lessons that we could use today, that could better our lives, that could have bettered our life if we were aware. And these books are important simply because they talk about struggle.
Well,
They talk about overcoming adversity.
Yes.
They talk about overcoming enemies and being the people of God.
Well.
They talk about what God requires of you.
well,
If you claim you love God, then there's a way of life that goes with that.
well,
And you don't give that up for nothing. Matter of fact, you would fight before you switch.
well,
You know that old saying? White folks take and corrupt everything. I'd rather fight than switch.
That's a fact.
But all right, let's look at the first book of the Maccabees. Gives a clear view of two opposing forces. First, the representatives of the evil of the time, that's Antiochus Epiphanes IV, along with Greek Hellenists, who had seduced some of the weaker Jews. And second, God's representatives of divine righteousness, the Hasmonean family of Mattathias and his 5 sons.
well,
That's the human vindicators for the oppressed black nation Israel.
All right.
First Maccabees highlights the evidence of God's presence in the rage of the powerless when they struggle to be free.
that's right.
Seen in the guerrilla warfare waged by the nearly defenseless Maccabees against the Seleucid enemies of their nation.
Amen.
And when we look at these players in this dynamic story, we have the enemy of the people, Antiochus Epiphanes, representing the Greek and the Hellenists. And then you have those who align themselves with the Greek and the Hellenists. These are black Jews who sought the easy way out. So you align yourself with the oppressor, trying to find a comfortable place to exist. You abandon your history and your heritage and your people and your God for what you think is a better way of surviving.
Have mercy.
Easy way.
Have mercy.
And then you have the Hasmonean family, who decided to be committed to God no matter what.
Well,
They believed in their history and their heritage. They believed that they were the people of God and that they should bow before no other God. They should have no other gods before the true God, the God of their ancestors, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And they were willing to fight to maintain that set of beliefs. And that's the story that we're about to actually show you today.
well, amen.
The body of the book is divided into 3 parts, one for each of Mattathias' 3 sons who succeeded one another as leaders of the resistance movement.
Well,
And we look at the beginning, we're looking at Mattathias, the father, a priest, holy man,
well,
and then he begins a revolution. He begins a revolt that actually enabled his people to survive. But if the father hadn't been the man that he was, if he hadn't been committed to God, then the 5 sons certainly couldn't have been who they were.
well,
So somebody's got to believe in something in order for it to be transmitted, passed down from father to son to son to son.
That's right.
But we tend to find that the fathers are weak and the mothers are weak and the children are gone astray.
well,
No morals, no ethics, don't believe in nothing.
well,
Preach, brother.
And the parents, the fathers and the mothers
Amen.
are hanging out with the kids.
Well,
That's today's world.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the story some more. I wrote down here that Mattathias begins the movement. That's chapter 2 basically. Judas Mattathias begins his reign or his part in terms of the revolution, the revolt. Jonathan, Simon, and I put this down simply because it's important. I think we have to look at the simple fact that when we look back in our history and we see some of the key players that actually decided to commit to the race overall, they had some solid examples in their parents, in their fathers. You know, it's very rare that you get a revolutionary just out of nowhere.
well,
It's very rare that you end up with a person who's committed to doing something about black people's issues when their fathers were total integrationists and total slaves.
well,
Look back at our history. Look at Marcus Garvey. His father was a part of the Maroons.
well,
Look at Malcolm X. His father was a part of the Universal Negro Improvement Association.
that's right.
Look at Jaramogi Baby Ajaman. His father was a pioneer in terms of black endeavors and black people and black studies. And a doctor who was committed to serving his people.
Well,
It's easier to get a revolutionary from that kind of father than it is to try to invent one from zero. So I think it's important that we at least understand what's happening here, that this is important. Generation after generation, we look at Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Abraham began the covenant. The covenant was made with Abraham saying, I will be your God and you will be my people.
well,
And he bought into it wholeheartedly. And his entire life was designed toward giving that belief, that covenant to his son, Isaac. Isaac wasn't that dynamic in terms of his life, but what he did was maintain the covenant.
well,
He maintained it long enough to give it to his son, Jacob.
Well.
And then you begin a whole change in the way the people function. A nation grew out of that simple belief. But if you can't hold a set of beliefs from one generation to the other, we don't stand a chance in.
have mercy, have mercy, have mercy,
We don't survive.
have mercy, have
We
mercy,
don't make it.
have mercy.
Set of beliefs have to be at least held for a generation in order for a few to catch it in the next generation.
Well, amen.
But when the leader dies, and then you have that other period of time, Isaac maintained his set of beliefs.
Well,
Mattathias had 5 sons, and they all got it.
well,
They all believed it. And they each stepped up in turn. When one died, the other one stepped up and took over the movement.
well,
Isn't that fantastic?
oh yeah, oh yeah.
The notion in warfare is kill the head and the body dies. Divide and conquer. That's the concept that's been used in the black community. Divide and conquered us all over the place. We are so divided.
That's right.
But here, the father died and the sons maintained the movement.
Well, thank God.
That's huge.
Amen.
At least maintain it. Don't let it die on your watch. That's mine.
Come on, brother. Come on.
What you trying to say?
Come on, brother.
How significant is this chain of events? Considering it's one of the times in black history where we are able to overcome what seemed like insurmountable odds to achieve victory over the enemy. 40 years of struggle. One son after another picked up the mantle, picked up the sword, fought the enemy, and gave them liberation, gave them freedom. But without the father and those 5 sons, who knows where the nation would end up? Would we even be telling this story today?
Well,
Somebody's got to do the battle. Somebody's got to do the struggle. Otherwise, we disappear from the landscape totally.
Amen.
You know that there's a notion about the world without us, right?
oh yeah.
You know that's an endeavor to eliminate us from the possibilities, right? To keep us down, to keep us in check. Because those who count know that if you let black people get a break, if you give us a chance, if you get your foot off our neck, what will we do?
Yeah.
Take over. They know this. I know they hate to see black people on the ice now, messing around with hockey and skating. Because they know we're going to take over. Black people in tennis, black people in baseball, in basketball, football. They know.
Yeah.
But they know they got to keep us in check.
That's right.
We just don't know. That's the tragedy of it all, is we don't even know our own power. We don't know we're capable of doing whatever it takes to free ourselves.
Amen.
Well,
But freedom at least got to be the objective, right?
oh yeah.
Otherwise, we drive, we get the education, we become so smart, our head becomes so big, and we get the job, and we get the house, and we get the car, and we happy, and we free, right? Wrong!
Well,
You ain't free!
well,
Because your people are enslaved.
well.
How
Amen.
you gonna be free? You the only black person walking around free. I'm free. Right? I'm free. 44 million black people enslaved and you free.
Well,
You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
amen.
Even if you are free, you ought to be ashamed. Why do you think these books were left out of the King James Version of the Bible? Now let's talk about that. I'm gonna slow it down. Why do you think these books were? These are books of struggle. These books where they beat the enemy. These books where they beat back, and the enemy now. Let's get the color scheme together. The enemy is black and white. The enemy is white. We're talking about the Greeks. The low down, dirty, filthy Greeks.
Well,
And I say that on purpose.
oh yeah.
Filthy Greeks.
Amen.
And the black nation Israel. A black nation, a black group, small, 5, 6 people, led a revolution that overthrew, that fought off the Greek invasion.
Well,
5 or 6 people. Y'all, do you understand what I'm saying? 5, 6 people
well,
began a revolution that's fought off a Greek invasion.
amen.
Why do you think these books were left out of the King James Version of the Bible? Where were black people? Come on, Tim.
I had to think that because they were willing to do more than just talk about God. Their conception of God was having a great conception of themselves and how the world was supposed to be.
Oh, okay, we can go to that. What else? Look at the time. Come on. This brother been out of town. Let him talk. Hey guys.
I need as much black as I can.
Come on, brother.
But they didn't want to expose the potential
Amen.
of black folks, and it would inspire the reader
Amen.
to move themselves from where they are to where they want to be.
Right.
And I can pull this off too. If they can pull this off, I can pull it off, and it would be too much consistency of growth and development for the black man.
You changed the mindset of the people. Same guy? Go ahead.
When I joined the church the first time I read My Glorious Brothers, right? It really was the first book that I had ever read, you know, from cover to cover. And obviously slavery was going on when
That's what I wanted to hear right there.
yeah, I mean
Slavery is
slavery
going
was
on.
going on, so you can't put that in there like a slave. If that term would have read that. Right.
So that lends itself to another thing.
Right. God was
Why would they restrict us reading? Why would they try to make sure that we didn't learn how to read? Why would they try to keep information from us, right? Because if you get information and you happen to stumble across something like this, then you get more Nat Turners.
Well,
Nat Turner came out of reading the Bible.
well,
He started to read the stories and said something wrong with this picture. What's going on here? Go ahead, Phil.
And then the other thing is, if people realize that they think that black people don't read, they're not gonna get the information. They were counting on that.
Absolutely.
So the information, they know that there's a myth that if you want black people, if you want something, if you don't want us to know something, put it in a book.
well, you're right.
I was in another ministry, and I won't jump that. I was in another ministry.
You sure you won't?
So, you know, I was explaining, you know, that's what they did. They read the Bible all the time. That's what, and actually it helped me now in terms of being very interested in the Bible. But when I asked him about the book of the Maccabees, like, oh no, that God didn't approve those. They didn't say the white man, right? They said God. They knew about it. The preacher knew about the books, right? He knew about it. He said, no, they didn't put that in because God wasn't hiding. These 400 years was dead years. Like God just left. He literally said God just left everything and went back to heaven. And that was the rationalization. And I'm like, okay.
They left it out to me because they wanted to control how we thought. You know what I'm saying? And pretty much they kept us thinking that, you know, we were supposed to suffer even way back then, not just the slaves of America.
Right.
That, you know, our job was to suffer and struggle and, you know, everything would be made all right. They didn't want us to think that we
What
could
what was the main message of the slave preacher? Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, one thing, along with slavery came this declaration that black is inferior.
Yeah.
And it wasn't only to black people, but they wanted white people to believe that black is inferior.
Well,
So you can't have this in the Bible to show that black people rose up
Right.
and you declare them to be inferior.
Well.
I mean, white people need to go along with the program too. So they're reading it. They're like, wait a minute, what is this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Right.
Why, they weren't taking any chances.
That's right.
Well, back to that thing about being ignorant that Trio was talking about. That's the same thing that's happening now about dumbing down the schools, and there's less reading, and it's a great association with the literacy and crime.
Right.
You know, it's the same. You know, now they have Snapchat. Kids don't even read full books anymore. Communication is shortcutted. Everything is
Text and-
Cut and paste.
Right, cut and paste. There's no thorough, complex thinking.
Right, right. And see, what we'll do, and the mistake that we make is we'll look at it like this is technology, this is growth, this is movement, this is change. And we as the subjugated people look at it like, okay, it's just something happening. But the subjugator, the oppressor, it's all deliberate. This is well thought out. This is mind over matter. They're not taking any chances on us developing any Messiah. Anybody who can think for themselves. Go ahead.
Everybody go back.
I think one of the other things is
Go past them slaves.
because they left it out is because they did not want us to know who we are and who we're connected to.
Right, absolutely. So you leave it out. You don't take no chance. Go ahead, go.
Since we're talking about the terms of education thing, even like now, even in the colleges, they come up with syllabus. And the only thing they want you to learn is what they want you to learn. Even today, in today's society, if you're in history, they only want to talk about certain things about certain parts of history.
Right.
And if you get a professor who's really a true professor that knows it, he will tell you about certain things. And like white people are amazed when they do hear how horrifying the black people were treated. Like what? So I'm saying even today, even in elementary, colleges, universities, they still have a way of still keeping us intact, even with with education today.
Like back to Nagle's point is that
Right.
they're not only programming us for inferiority, they program the white person for superiority.
well,
And so all that in itself is like it goes on. It doesn't need any real push or pull. It happens with or without them. And even when you find a white person who will try to act like, okay, well I am a real Christian and I want to help the blacks, they can't do squat because the system doesn't allow it. But they put it in place, and it started way back here.
well,
It started way back here.
Well,
They've been doing this to us now. This was 300 years before Jesus, 300 and some years, and then 2,000 years after Jesus, and they're still doing the same thing to us today.
well,
That's right.
Isn't that something? Doesn't that blow your mind?
oh yeah.
Once they learn, I mean, it ain't broke, so why would they fix it? The system, the program, the way that they function and do it, it works for them. All right, I done went out there. Okay. Read that paragraph from the book covers 40 years. I'm gonna make y'all read now.
The book covers 40 years from the rise of Antiochus Epiphanes in 175 BC to the death of Simon and the rise of John Maccabees, Simon's son, in 134 BC.
Go ahead, keep it. The book was
The
written.
book was written in Palestine between 134 and 63 BC. The author, consistent with the Old Testament's religious nationalism, views the nation's distress as a punishment for sin, abandonment of their unique nationalistic covenant faith, and their deliverance from oppression. Also true to the Old Testament blessings / curses motif, is seen as the blessings of God's power for living in faithfulness to the covenant. The tremendous faithfulness of a few saved and redeemed the black nation.
Okay. The 40-year period that they've covered in these books, or in this book, and bottom line is that when they talk about the writer presenting the message in terms of the Old Testament, the idea was that if I will be your God, you will be my people. He's talking about the covenant. Right. And saying that when we actually strive to be the people of God, when we strive to honor the covenant, honor that agreement, when we strive to work together and build and have reverence for God, then we're blessed.
Well,
But when we stray from God,
Amen.
all the things, the tragedies and the woes that come because we stray away from our covenant relationship with God. Because we stop trying to be the people of God.
Well,
That's significant, isn't it? I'm saying what if that's real? What if it's real? I mean, what if that is the issue? What if that is black people's problem? Look at us as a whole. How do we function? We function different than any other people on the planet.
well,
We are the most rainbow, unicorn hugging, flag waving people on the planet. Look at us, how we function. We love everybody. We love anybody can come in the black community and just live. We just love them.
Come on, T.
Facts now.
But where's the love for God?
well,
We go to church. More than anybody. We got more churches in the black community. It's 4 on every block.
well,
We so religious. We claim God all the time. Whatever. When some of you ask somebody how they doing, talking about too stressed to be blessed. I'm so blessed. Oh, hallelujah. We say it all the time. Religious. We are so religious that we are insane. What if that is the issue? That we claim in God, but we really don't do God.
well,
We really don't embrace God. Because if you really believe that God was for you, why would you accept oppression?
well,
Why would you reverence white people over you and your people?
well,
Why would you think they're better?
Well.
Why would you think that the white man's eyes is colder than the black man's eyes?
well,
Why would you believe what you believe about black people? Why you would believe that we're worthless?
come on, brother,
That we
come
don't
on,
deserve more.
come on.
That we don't deserve better. How do you believe this if you love God like you say you do?
Well, come on, brother.
Who's the architect of your blackness? Was it the white man? Who placed you in Africa?
Well,
The first of people.
That's right.
Who gave you civilization, religion, and science before he gave it to anybody else. Who is the architect of your blackness?
Come on.
Why you got a problem with your blackness? And you love God so much to where you need 4 churches on every block. Something wrong with this thing.
Come on, brother. Come on.
Look at the black community.
Well,
Worse than any place on the planet. And we love God so much.
well,
But we're not the people of God.
well,
We don't function like a people. We're the only people on the planet who don't function like a people.
well,
Everybody else has a tendency to work with each other. To work with themselves.
Well.
They only buy at their store.
well,
Look at the Koreans. Look at the Chinese.
well,
Look at the Jews.
Uh-huh.
Look at the Asians in general. Look at the Indians. Look at the Arabs. Look at white folk.
well,
They function like a people. They believe that their connection to one another is power. What do? We run away from black people. We keep moving. If a black person moves in our community, when we thought we had moved and got away from them niggas, what we do, we be trying to move. We be trying to get away. That's what we say. I thought I was the only one. Now I got the money. There goes the neighborhood. We ought to be ashamed of ourselves.
well,
The only people on the planet who don't act like a people,
well,
who try not to be a people, you lose the covenant. You lose a true relationship with God. Because God didn't just make one black person.
well,
Don't y'all know?
Amen.
If you were supposed to be an island, it would just been one of you. Wouldn't have been no other black people, just you roaming around. But God made a whole bunch of them
well,
and made you first.
well, that's right.
You were supposed to be the archetype, the prototype for other people, for other civilizations.
Well,
What did you do? What happened? You got off the task. You got off the mission.
well,
That 400 years messed you up. Corrupted your possibilities. Stole your birthright. And now you trying to figure out how to be white, or be with somebody else, or anything but black, right?
well,
Indian. I'm just saying, this ancestry DNA thing is gonna be $1 billion. We ought to invest in it. That's a start. It's going to be a multi-billion-dollar business because black folks trying to figure out how to get away from being black now. We want that little European, we want that Chinese, we want Indian, we want anything but black, right?
yeah,
You put yours in and come up Congo. Nigeria. I gotta stay with these. Woe is me. Don't check it if you don't want to know. I'm just saying, look, you in. You ain't going nowhere.
well,
You gonna be black
well,
till you die.
well,
Why don't you do something with it?
well,
Why don't you help it to be better?
Yeah.
Why don't you help us to be better?
well,
Let's grow something. Let's do something.
Yes.
Together is the only way.
well,
And it doesn't take a lot to start.
well,
5, 6, right? We talking about 5 or 6 brothers who changed their world. Fought off an enemy. All right, so let's talk about the enemy. The enemy overall was the Greeks invading.
well,
The Greeks invaded. But the Greeks, for a long time, they came in and then they conquered and then they just sat there.
That's right.
They let people get comfortable. They let them go about their daily lives, you know. They set up shop and, you know, the people started to, you know, go to the school and go to get education, go to get jobs. they started to build little huts and homes in the suburbs, and then all of a sudden the Greeks said, wait a minute now, we need a little bit more control here, so here's what we're gonna do. We want all y'all to be a little bit more Greek. Now y'all been running around raising your hands, talking about praying to this invisible God. Now we want y'all to pray to Zeus. We want y'all to pray to these idols. We want y'all to stop circumcising your children. We don't want y'all to be different. We don't want y'all to, pray every day at 12 noon. We don't want y'all going to this synagogue. We want you to come into the arenas and we want you to wrestle buck naked. We want y'all to be more like us. We want y'all to be more Greek. So what we're going to do is that we're going to demand that y'all give up all that other stuff, all that black stuff. Don't stop talking about being black. Stop talking about being different. Stop talking about separation. We want y'all to integrate.
My Lord. Uh-oh.
That's what Hellenism is. Integrate. This guy done threw his hand up already.
Because this is how today white people flip stuff.
Yeah.
One of the top movies, and I've seen it many times, is 300, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Everybody done seen 300.
Yeah.
It makes them seem
Make
like
them
they're
feel-
such peace-loving, and they flip it and make the Persians seem like the conquerors of the world, right? They're the ones with the armies that's the black armies that are coming up and sweeping up everything, and they're defending their way of life, when in fact the Greeks were doing the exact thing that they portrayed the Persians as doing in the movie 300.
Yeah. Well, look here. If I got to present my history, if I got to present my story, I control all the movie theaters. I control all the venues. I had all the money. I control the media. I make myself look pretty good too. Why would I tell the truth? When I'm a runt, when I'm a scrub, when I stole and pillaged and raped and plundered the world, why wouldn't I say that I got raped and pillaged and plundered, and then I fought back and I killed them all?
They still ain't got a movie about Hannibal yet, huh?
They ain't gonna tell that story. No. What was the movie where they mentioned Hannibal? They said they used that as a bedtime story. No, it was nothing.
They reenacted, or Spartacus.
Well, okay, I'm not talking about the actual history. This was a reference in a movie. Some white guy said they used that story about Hannibal to scare their children. Tell their children that Hannibal is at the gates. Say, y'all better be acting right. Hannibal. And white folks do this today. How do you think they train their children?
That's right.
How do you think they train their children about money? They tell you don't spend all your money. What do? They take them through the ghetto.
That's right.
They show them that this is what happens to people who spend all their money.
Well,
This was what happens to people who spend the whole dollar. Every dollar. You want to live like that? You better learn how to save some money.
well,
You better learn how to keep some money.
well.
They use us to train their children how to be white. Hellenism. But see, they weren't just Southern about this, everybody being a little Greek. No, they got diabolical about it. They sent the army in, and the army raped men, women, and children. Where do you think all this old low-down, nasty behavior that white folks got comes from?
That's right.
Their ancestors, the Greeks, were the worst.
Yes.
Well,
They raped men, women, and children.
men, women, and children.
And you think that 400 years on the plantation, they were raping men,
My Lord.
That's right.
My
women,
Lord.
and children.
Amen.
And we run around, we want to be lesbian, we want to be gay, we want to be... I'm sorry. You just embrace the devil. I'm just saying, it's a bad thing that they did, but they actually wanted everybody to be a little Greek So they figured if they could affect the next generation, they would have a better shot, and they keep doing it.
Yes.
And they keep doing it, and they keep splitting us up, they keep trying to divide us, they keep trying to dilute us.
Right.
They keep trying to whitewash us. I'm saying they don't want us to be proud of being black and who we are.
Integration.
We ought to be. Read this statement here, and then I think we're going to shut it down. I had to put this in there. It's written by a book called My Glorious Brothers by Howard Pass.
This is not a people. This thing we call grief, not a culture. In the old days, they tell of a beautiful folk far to the west who found things that were not known before. Such Greeks we never knew. Only the bastard power drug lords of the Syrian Empire in the north who made their own definition of what was Hellene and taught it to us through suffering. Thus, they Hellenized us, not with beauty and wisdom, but with fear and terror and hate.
My Lord.
Fear and terror and hate.
My Lord.
And the white man is the architect of hate and terrorism. And then he tries to blame everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Whatever evils he has imposed on the world, he tries to blame everybody else. He tries to act like other people invented rape and terror and fear and hell. But the white man is the architect of all this evil in the world.
Amen.
He is the evil in the world. But what you got to get this is old.
Right.
He's been doing this for generations, for thousands of years.
Well,
And you think he's going to change? You think integration is going to work in your favor? You think if you can figure out how to be closer to the white man that you're going to be the one who make it out of the black world?
well,
I mean, in your mind, when you're children, you can fantasize like that, you know, because you want to be a fireman, you want to be a policeman. And so you can fantasize like, all I got to do is just get me a good education, and then I get me a good job, and white folks will leave me alone. I'll be all right. All black people want to do is just be left alone. You know, the majority just leave us alone. Let us just live. White man can't do that. He can't just let you live. You might mess around and discover your inner divinity. You
well,
might mess around and realize that you're the first child of God. That your birthright is control of the world.
Amen.
Facts now.
You think he's gonna let that go?
Come on, no.
Amen.
When he's recessive, you can wipe him off the planet.
Come on.
Your DNA eliminates him. Go ahead.
You know, when I first moved here to Atlanta, this was in '86. Oprah had that show up there in Forsyth County. Oprah's a billionaire.
Yeah.
That white woman called her a nigga on that show. It's on YouTube. You can see it. And she's a billionaire.
Ain't that something? Money don't get it. Money don't mean nothing today.
Change your color.
Yeah.
Fact. Put this in the annals of your memory and understand this. 3 or 4 white people control more money than the whole 44 million black people in this country.
have mercy.
3 or 4. So a black person, a nigga with $1 billion, means nothing to white people.
That's right. That's right.
You don't control nothing.
That's right.
3 or 4 black people control more money than the whole 44 million black people in the planet.
Have mercy.
How is that possible? Because our program is wrong. We've been programmed wrong. We've been programmed to love white people and to shy away from black people.
Well,
We don't build black communities. We invest our money and our time in other communities.
Amen.
All of our money runs out of our communities. We buy more fried rice, more chicken from everybody but ourselves. All right, I'm gonna quit. That's it. We'll finish next week.